I am an artist, I'm an activist, and I'm a public speaker. My work focuses on celebrating the resilience, the humanity, and the contributions of immigrants. I grew up undocumented, and I'm currently actually a DACA recipient. It gives you, for 2 years, a work permit, so you're legally able to work. DACA opened so many doors for me and created opportunities for so many of us. I think it gave the country an opportunity to see us.
Painting murals kind of becomes my here to stay statement. It's my way of planting seeds and leaving my legacy, because no matter what happens to me, whether I'm deported or not, my murals and the impact that they have on people will live on forever.
It's so exciting to be here. I'm an activist, as you now know, but I'm usually in DC for activism, and so it's nice to be here to celebrate with the Kid Museum and for celebration and not for a fight. So thank you for joining me in celebrating. Thank you, Tony, I don't know where he went, there he is, for being an advocate, and who I call him El Padrino, which is like the Godfather, because he's always lifting everybody around him up, and it's just a great honor to be here, and thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my story this evening. I became undocumented at 7 years old when my parents made the courageous decision to uproot from our home in Michoacan and to migrate to Atlanta, Georgia, with 2 book bags stuffed with just a few documents and enough clothing for the crossing and a Tetris game that kept my 2 little brothers, and me distracted during the journey. We embarked on a journey to recreate home for ourselves as new Americans. I entered the public school system also at a low-income school late in the 3rd grade without speaking a word of English. And when I was in Mexico, I was a pretty good student, and I always got in trouble for talking too much. So not being able to talk was really challenging. Being unable to express myself or even ask if I could use the restroom was alienating, but that feeling disappeared as soon as I stepped into the art classroom. This was the one place where I didn't need to speak English to feel included, to feel like I could be successful. All I had to do was make. This safe space restored my self-confidence and sense of belonging and planted the seed of my love for art. At 16, I won 3rd place in an art contest and a $50 prize, which at the time I was like, I'm securing the bag. And I was recognized at our Georgia Capitol building with a certificate and a medal, and similar to today, there was artwork on display, our artwork, the work of the winners, so that everybody could enjoy. After the ceremony, I was denied the $50 prize because I didn't have a social security number. What should have become a pleasant memory for me as an aspiring artist was instead a sobering realization that kindled a fire. It was a spark that illuminated my path toward becoming an activist, an educator, and an artist working to help my country imagine a world where undocumented people are no longer in the shadows. My artwork has allowed me to assert our presence, the validity of our presence, our humanity, and to become a monument maker in honor of immigrants and their stories. In my journey as an undocumented Mexicana artist, especially down in Georgia, a historically anti-immigrant state, there have been countless moments of uncertainty that have forced me and maybe inspired me to reimagine my own future. And in those moments of despair and darkness, I am reminded that when we look up at the night sky, we are illuminated by light from stars that don't even exist anymore. So although it is hard to immediately see the impact of our actions, I know that when we are no longer around, I talk a lot about the the fear and the risk of deportation being undocumented. And so even if I'm not around in the future, there will be future generations that will find certainty and solidarity in the work that we are doing today. So thank you, Kid Museum, for your commitment to lighting the path for future generations of makers and artists, and thank you for this recognition.